Well, good morning, folks. Papa Joe here. Got into a discussion just a couple days ago now, I guess. This is Friday. I guess it was Wednesday. Wound up doing a conference call in the midst of it. One old boy called me and we was talking. Then another old boy called in and there's a morning routine. I don't know. But the sinus is draining, some morning routine. Well, talking to those two, damn near morning routine too. But sinuses come first. But the other one called in. I wound up conference him because I knew he'd have input on the subject. But the first guy, he said, I want to ask you a question. All right, fire away. Now, he got a little elaborate and drugged out on asking this question, but I'll cut it in half. He said, you know, in the book of Revelations, it says not to add to or take away from this book. Yep, it does. And he says, how did that get transferred from the book of Revelations to the whole Bible? He says, whoever wrote it, and I reminded him it was John. And John was on an island. He had been, well, what do you call that? They had put him, isolated him out on the island. That ain't the word I'm looking for, but it'll work. And the whole book of Revelations was him having a meeting with the Lord. Now, he was in praise, and the Lord brought him to heaven and showed him everything in the book of Revelations. And he said, now you can't tell me that if this was John. He said, John didn't know that this conglomeration of different books would get put together, and that he should put this warning in there for that big, massive collection of books. I allowed he was correct, in my opinion. So we got into talking about it, and I told him, I said, now I believe in the Bible. I believe it was inspired by God. I also happen to believe that man has got his hand in it. And any time that you put man's hand in God's work, man screws it up. I told him that in my youth as a Christian, I I got to inquiring different things. One of them was about the Bible. And the senior saints where I was going to church, they, another bubble. There was some of the questions I had that they just couldn't and wouldn't answer. So I wound up seeking information on my own. And I'm sure I got some of it wrong. One of the things that I was wanting to learn about was the origin of the Bible. And I started learning how they put the Bible together. Really. It's quite interesting. Was it? I want to say it was King James, because it's King James version that's the most popular. But I don't think he was the first one. I don't remember. That sometimer gets me. But what it boils down to is that there were lots of Bibles, so to speak, that and you gotta remember, Christianity was still in its infancy. I mean, it was a few hundred years old, but still. So this king wanted to get one standard thought pattern on Christianity. And he put together a board, that's my terminology, of scholars, basically of the Christian faith. And he had them collect all of these letters, for the most part, stories, books, Bibles, whatever. Collected all this stuff that people were using to guide them in Christianity. And had these folks decide what would go in the King James Bible. There was a heap of stuff that didn't make it in the Bible. Now, they tried, and I'm sure for their time it was good, and none of this was done out of malice, you know, so I'm not bad-mouthing nobody. I'm explaining to you how it happened, in my humble opinion. They took the writings and letters from those that were with Jesus. Then they took writings and letters from those that were known, such as Paul. Paul never was with Jesus. Paul came after Jesus. Not long after, but after. But he was not an apostle. And there's a heap of writing in the Bible that Paul wrote. All the letters to the churches and stuff, those was his. So this group had to decide, and from my understanding, there's a whole lot of made up stuff. Imagine that. We were just talking about man having his hand in it and screwing it up. And the devil has his hand in it too. So there was a whole lot of bad stuff that was going on. Man's opinion. And I'm sure some of that was out of malice when the devil had his hand in on it. But this group had to decide what all exactly went in the Bible. And that's how they came upon the Bible. So, we just have to trust that these folks was listening to God's voice when they put the Bible together. And that's why they say that it was inspired by God. They tell us that the Lord put it on this king's heart to have this done, and that these scholars went to the Lord in prayer, and he put it on them on what to put in the Bible. I can't throw rocks at that. I can't confirm it. I can't deny it. It sounds reasonable to me. But despite if they did their best intentions, they were still man. That leaves room for caution. One of the biggest problems with the Bible is that it got interpreted so many times. And it's not real easy to interpret Egypt, Arabic, is that what you call it? It's not easy to translate those words, their meanings, into English. And first it was Old English, ye's and yays and yaws. That's what first turned me against, I shouldn't say against, away from the Bible. Is back when I was a kid, we didn't have the new English versions and all that stuff. You had to read all the ye's and yays and yaws, and that stuff confused me. Between me being a hillbilly and my youth, Well then, now that we have different ones, it's easier for me to read. It's still an interpretation. They had to change it up. Once again, you took scholars, and one word can mean several different things in their language. And they had to choose what word to use in the English language. That's why you hear a lot of these preachers, they will tell you, well, in the original Bible, and whatever, they'll tell you some Bible name, it is hoopa 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 dada, which translated means, now you're getting their thoughts on it. And of course they want you to think that God inspired them with this wisdom, that this is the true definition of this word. And they'll tell you this word could mean this, or it can mean this, or it can mean this, but it should mean this. That could change a whole lot in your reading of the Bible. So, I read the Bible. In one of the chat rooms, one of my subscribers made comment that he missed me reading the Bible, and I will try to get back on it, but this new routine I'm on, it's a bit of a chore. Like last night, I stopped. I was a grumpy part. If I'd read the Bible, it might have helped me, but I wasn't in that frame of mind. But still, I use the Bible as a basis and a guideline for my faith. I listen very carefully to any guidance that I'm given from preachers, because they're men. Yes, they went to the preacher school. They got that piece of paper they hang behind their head that says, I'm a preacher school kind of guy. I don't have that, but I got him. And to me, what Jesus asked of us isn't that hard. Well, it's hard to do, but it isn't hard to understand. You know, he asked us not to steal. Asked us not to kill folks. Asked us to help each other. Asked us to work for a living. And asked us to tell people about it. That's the simple word of it. So, you know, I don't steal. I do my best not to lie. Now, if we get sitting around the liar's circle and swapping trucker stories, I'm liable to tell a story or two. But that's usually in jest. For entertainment values. Is the Lord going to frown on me for that? I don't know. I like to think not. I hope not. I ain't never killed nobody. Yeah, I'm old jarhead. When I was in, we wasn't in no war. Now, if we'd went to war, yes, I would have killed. But guess what? God put together armies, and God sent nation against nation. Read your Old Testament. There's some pretty heavy battles in there. There's a lot of killing in there. So, where Jesus tells us not to kill, God has commanded for some to kill. Does that make killing right? No. Listening to the Lord and obeying the Lord is right. I haven't really heard him tell anybody in many a year to go kill people. Although you have the Muslim faith that the crazies in it still think they have directions to kill folks. And do I agree with that? No. Do I think they've conscried the Bible into their, I can't even think what it's called right now. Quran. I think that their original leader was of the devil. I don't think the Quran is God inspired. God did not tell any set of people to go kill the rest of the world. Now, he had some countries that he did have them cleansed for whatever reason. Some of them because he was mad at them, and some of them because I promise you this land, go take it. That's my interpretation. Love thy neighbor like you love yourself. To me, that gets misinterpreted, misquoted, misused. Just like turn the other cheek. I don't think that Jesus directed us to just let people abuse us. he told us two things that makes me not turn the other cheek and let people keep. Well, I turn it once to a degree, so don't get me wrong. However, on Mount Gethsemane, when he knew his time was up, he'd called the boys' club together. Y'all just gotta excuse me with these sinuses. And he told them, he says, those that don't have a dagger, go sell your cloak and buy you one. To my knowledge, they didn't need a letter opener, and it probably wasn't for cleaning your fingernails. It was probably for protecting yourself, because he knew what the beginning Christians, the first believers, were going to have to go through. Think about that. Paul told us, which, like I told you, he's the biggest writer in the Bible. He told us that God didn't give us a meek spirit, that he gave us a strong spirit. And for us to stand up, be accountable. And that tells you that we're not supposed to be these meek little Christians that keep our mouths shut, let all these atheists and idiots out here keep us beat down. In case you ain't noticed, I ain't beat down. I won't be beat down. And with the Lord's help, I will never be silenced. So man, to round it all up, yeah, man has had his hand in the Bible. Yes, there's some misquotings in there. Yes, there's some misinterpretations in there. But it is a guideline. There's an old saying. Do you know what Bible stands for? Basic instructions before leaving earth. So it's a guideline. It's your basic instructions. That's why I've told you numerous times that the Bible is for you to pray about before you read, and you read it, and let the good Lord put it on your heart what he wants you to get out of it. The Bible has been written in such a way that we all can get different meanings out of the same passage. So it's a matter of you, which goes hand in hand with me telling you, when you get to the heaven and you have to stand before God, he's not going to ask you what your preacher thought about the Bible, what the preacher thought its interpretations meant. He's going to be asking you about you. Did you read the Bible? What did you get from the Bible? Did you live by the guidelines that I gave you? So don't be a closet Christian that's afraid to talk about Jesus and God. And don't rely on just man to help you and guide you in your walk. To be a Christian is to have a relationship with God, with Christ, not with your local church. Now, being a member of your local church is all good and all that, and it's supposed to help you in your walk. You're supposed to be with people of a like mind. So be with people of a like mind, but actually use your mind. You read, you learn, you pray, and you interpret the Bible for you. That's all I got to say about that. Y'all remember, God loves you, so do I. And He does want a relationship with you. And He is waiting on you to take that step and start that relationship. And to start it doesn't mean to count on your preacher to be your only teacher. They called him a teacher when he walked on earth. Guess what? He's still the good teacher. Y'all have a blessed day now. Be safe out there. God bless you. Bye.